Hey there, Photo Universe. Alright, we're going to kick off Pentex's K1 coverage with a discussion of L plates and quick release plates. So this is a Kirk plate, and that goes on the bottom of the camera. And the reason I'm starting there is so for my K3, I've got one of these that goes on the bottom of the camera because I like to sometimes when I'm walking around, as you can see here, I've got the L plate on the bottom of the K1. So for there's many times I'm just I want to be able to get on my tripod, but I don't want to have an L bracket. I don't need that. So for the K3, I've got the separate plate, and I've got the separate L bracket because the bracket doesn't separate. Like the L bracket, this is a Kirk bracket for the K5, K3 series cameras, and so it's either or. I either have to run this way or know that I want to use the L bracket and throw that on. What's recently happened, that's the Really Right Stuff L bracket for the K1, and what has recently happened is these things have become modular. Also, so I go back and forth, whoever has the better design, Kirk or Really Right Stuff. To be perfectly honest with you, if there's a Sunway Photo or a newer L bracket on Amazon or B&H for 20 bucks or 30 bucks, that's what I buy. Because they're just as good, if not, they're just as good. And they're the ones that kind of started this modularity. So what I mean by modularity is you take your Allen key, and so now I've got a bottom plate, and if I know that I want to run with the L bracket, I can just throw that on there. But what I'm saying is that, so I go with, and Newer and Sunway Photo and those knockoff Chinese brands have, yeah, when I'm on video, I can't put it back together. Newer and these started this modularity concept, and so Really Right Stuff and B&H have been kind of adapting it. With the K1, I actually have a strong preference, however. So Sunway Photo and Newer and those knockoff brands, they don't make an L bracket. An inexpensive one. You can buy the two components from Really Right Stuff for 120 bucks. And I like the Really Right Stuff bracket. It's thinner and it's more compact to the camera. I run my cameras as still cameras, not necessarily video cameras, so I don't have a bunch of wires and things coming out of here. I don't need to, if I'm running an L bracket, I don't need to go, I don't need wires sticking out there because I'm going L, right? I'm going vertical. So I like my L brackets really tight in and close to the camera, and Really Right Stuff has got a beautiful design. I couldn't ask for more on that. This is everything I would want in an L bracket. This is perfect, pretty much. Really Right Stuff nailed this one. It's got a bottom plate, so I can run a bottom plate. It's got the L attachment if I want to run the L attachment. I mean, it's convertible, and it's really tight in and close to the camera. And so it doesn't bulk up the camera when I throw this on there. Because sometimes I'm shooting handheld, I'm not on a tripod, and I want to be able to hold the camera. So, okay, so let's dive into this tabletop. The reason we're on the tabletop is because we want to talk about the lunar lander back of the K1. We're going to start off the K1 with the review of the crazy lunar landing pad back there, of how the back deal here adjusts, the back screen for the tilting screen. It doesn't swivel, it just kind of tilts. So is that a useful feature? Yeah, totally. For landscapes, absolutely. It's really cool. Would I prefer not to have it? Yeah, I would. The 2 ounces or 3 ounces of weight that it adds is to me more precious than being able to tilt my screen. That's just me. Your mileage may vary on that. The reason why that's such a complicated assembly is, and why no one else has done it that way, there's two factors. First of all, I think Ricoh is a company with a lot of ego, and they have some engineers on staff who fall into that trap of, you know, hey, why make it simple when we can make it complicated and show how cool we are? So I kind of get that feeling from Ricoh. Hey, I'm just calling it like it is. This is Photo Universe, all right? Pentax wasn't that way. Pentax was form follows function. We don't care how nice it looks. We're just going to make it work. And that's what attracted me to Pentax 30 years ago. Okay, now having said that, Pentax has had a little bit of a wild streak sometimes, like power zoom. I mean, yeah, okay, with the PZ1 series, you know, they thought they were going to set the world on fire with that, whatever. My take on this tilting back with the complexity of the steel rods and the channels and the, you know, whatever. There's two things. First of all, I think it's an ego thing. I think they did it just because they could, and they're showing off. And number two, I think they did it this way because this is a professional level camera, okay? That when you put a 300,000 life expectancy shutter in a camera, you're kind of saying you expect that camera to be used a lot. And so I think Ricoh is definitely targeting this at a professional level, and the build quality is there. And the bottom line comes down to, guess what? If Nikon or Canon does a tilt screen on the back of their professional level models, it's going to be similar. You know, you see people, you can support the camera, the weight of the camera with the lens with this unit. This is a hell for stout way to make a tilt screen. I have no worries. I mean, you know, other than real abuse, this is going to stand up to the rigors of constant professional use for a tilt screen. This is an impressive implementation. Okay, my problem with, I mean, let me put it this way. If you're going to do a professional tilt screen, this is the way you do it. Okay, this is a professional level tilt screen. This is kind of the way it has to be. That's hell for stout. I have no worries about it breaking. My problem with it is that what's the cost benefit analysis? What are you really gaining for that level of complexity and for the added weight? It's not a lot of, some people say, I can't live without the tilt screen. And guess what? This is the only professional implementation of a tilt screen that I've seen. So your prayers have been answered. On the other hand, personally, you know, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Okay, what's the cost that this costs to implement this, and the complexity and the added weight? It may only be 2 or 3 ounces, but you know, the K1's coming in as the heaviest of this caliber D810 Canon 5D series full frame cameras, and it's by a couple of ounces. Okay, all right. So that's my take on the tilt screen. Is it a make or break kind of a deal? You know, there's people out there now listening to what I'm saying going, oh my God, Ed doesn't like the tilt screen. He hates the K1. You know, I didn't say that, right? Well, all I'm doing is pointing out that, like, me personally, if the engineers had asked me, I'd say, you know what, that's really cool, but so what? I mean, you know, it's not, the ends don't justify the means. It's a lot of complexity for just a very simple addition of function, in my opinion. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I would say no, I'd rather save the 3 ounces and the complexity and the cost, shave $100 off the cost of the camera, and let's roll with a fixed screen. Okay, no big deal. The K1 has this now. And it's got those cool little lights on the back of the deal that you push this button and the lights come on. I don't even think the camera has to be on. I just think you have to push the button. Okay, it does have to be on. So fair enough. So yeah, you got these cool lights which light up the back of the, if you pull this out, it lights up the back of the controls. Which, yeah, I mean, now that's not professional. Okay, let's talk about the lights here. The professional way to do that is have all your buttons backlit on the Nikon D5. That's the professional way to do that. Sticking a bunch of LEDs around the outside of the camera, you know, that's kind of hokey. I mean, I'll take them because it's better than nothing, but you know, Now there was somebody made a comment in one of the videos I was watching that the lights are everywhere except where you need them. They're not across the top. Well, my argument there would be is anything you're adjusting on the top, you don't really need to see because it comes up right away on the back screen, right? When you turn the dial, I mean, it tells you pretty lit up what's happening, right? Where you're going. I don't have a lens on, so it'll only go manual and AV, but you get my point. Okay, and then if you're turning this, it's kind of telling you right there where you're at, right? I mean, you have to interpolate a little bit, but it's pretty straightforward, okay? I mean, just off the top of my head here, so there's Wi-Fi, there's a crop factor, there's shake reduction on or off, there's the grid screen, there's the HDR on. I mean, that's pretty intuitive. You don't need that lit up. So the lights, you know, I think it's great. You got lights in the doors. You can see your aperture to change your lenses. Not only change your lenses, you can see your aperture if you're using an old manual lens. The lights are great, okay? I'd rather see backlit buttons personally. That's the real classy way to do it. But that minor nitpicking here, okay? The make or break deal? No, just like the tilty back, it's there. I'll use it. I'll enjoy it. If I even having it and seeing how it's implemented, I'd still prefer not to have it, but that's a preference. It's not a make or break deal, and that's just for me. Okay, that's just for me. And the jury's out on that one. When I start using this camera hot and heavy, I might not be able to live without that tilt screen. So there, okay? That's where I'm at on the tilt screen. The lights, I'd rather see backlit buttons, but I'll take the lights. They're better than nothing. And then that moves me to the next thing that was a interesting deal with the K1 is that you now have the front control dial, you have the rear control dial, and you have this dial here. So this dial is controlled with this dial. So you can instantly change your crop factor. Okay. You can instantly switch SR on and off. You can instantly switch your grid on and off. HDR bracketing. Well, now we're getting somewhere useful. A continuous high or continuous low. Yeah, maybe. ISO, okay, well, you know, you could just push this button and spin this dial too, right? But now I guess we have it on a dial, so yeah, okay. I see the real utility of this dial as a dedicated instant exposure compensation because that's something I use all the time. So that's kind of cool. However, with all my other Pentax cameras, I push this button and spin this dial, right? And I got exposure compensation. So what's my take on this deal with this third dial? Again, you know, just because you can, why? It adds complexity. It adds, you know, a redundancy, which in some ways is good, but not when you have to add 2 more big dials to your camera. It's a little over the top, I think. It's superfluous. It's frippery. It's not something that solves a major issue that I've had. You know, the ergonomics of the Pentax layouts for their handling, for their menu structure and their button are almost perfect. All right. Do I prefer this over the K3? No, not at all. I actually like the bigger LCD screen on the K3. So, you know, very, very cool, but so what? All right. Yeah. Is it cool? Yeah. Is it, you know, does it help in any way? Not really, because, you know, to be honest with you, now I've got all this crap up here. Guess what? I interchange between the K1 and the K3 a lot. So I'm still ISO. There you go. Bam, bam, bam. ISO, bam. You know, hit your green button and you go back to auto ISO. Brilliant. Exposure compensation, hit my button, spin my dial. In a way, you know, now I have to go find this button. I don't know. I mean, when the K3 II successor comes out and this becomes the way that Pentaxes are all laid out, okay. I mean, but did we really go anywhere? No. Ansel Adams said, isn't it interesting how much we progress with so little improvement? Well, that's the, you know, the rear tilty, I can make a better argument for the rear tilty screen. Okay, if I really used rear tilty screen a lot and it was a feature I absolutely had to have, man, this is the most professional, solid one I've ever seen. This is a tilty screen I can get behind and support. That's the way to do a tilty screen. Okay, this crap with 2 extra buttons on my camera now, it's not I can take it or leave it. I can really leave that. All right, that's not helping me at all, and it's making the camera more complicated in some ways. Will I use it? Yeah, I'll probably set it to plus or minus and use it just because it's there. I may not. I may end up just reverting to what I've always done and just push that button, which was a brilliant layout. So what's really interesting about this first video about the K1 is that's pretty much all my complaints. And it's not really complaints, they're just the things that I, the things that I'm like, yeah, okay, the things I have an opinion about. The rest of it, the camera is really very excellently competent. So I've got some more stuff to say about it. Particularly, I used it at a wedding last weekend, and that was interesting. So I've got some more things to say about it, but I just wanted to hit those 2 things, because those things stand out, and I've been able to form, over the past month of owning this camera, I've been able to form an opinion on those 2 things. And I want to get that out there and share that. So that's my take on the K1 tilty screen, the lights, and the dial on the top. I will be making more K1 videos as I have something to say. All right, Photo Universe, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. This is Ed. Have a good one. Bye. Hey there, Photo Universe. Okay, so we're going to kick off Photo Universe's Pentax K1 coverage. That's so out of focus.